Welcome back, rollerbladers. As many of you know, I've been skating faction skates for a relatively long time now in the grand scheme of things. But I started off on the black faction tactical V1s. I skated those for close to a year, and I really fell in love with them. I basically stopped skating all other skates except for specifically reviews. Faction was nice enough to send me some of the white faction tactical V1s, which I've been skating for about 4 months now. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you my experiences over the last 4 months, the good, the bad, and I should give it full disclosure here that they did gift me this pair of white faction V1s, tactical V1s. But despite that, I'm going to do my very best to be unbiased in this review. And but I do want to say thank you to Faction for giving me the skates very much, and specifically to Clark for hosting us recently at the compound in Maryland, and that was a huge blast where I really put these white V1s to the test. So anyway, with that out of the way, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I liked, what I didn't like, and specifically, the biggest thing that's different, because a lot of you, if you've watched any of the other faction reviews, this is going to be pretty similar, to be honest with you. The big difference between the white V1s here and the black V1s is the sole plate. So on the first V1s, the black V1s, you got these. There was a different color, it was like a light gray. But both created by Justin Thursday here. So shout out Justin Thursday. But this is the V1 sole plate with the kind of airplane wings at the back that some people love and some people don't. But the biggest difference between the black V1s and the white V1s is the sole plate. On the white V1s, you get the stealth sole plate here, which is a little bit slimmer, a little bit more contoured compared to the black one, which is a little bit more boxy, shall we say. But one of the biggest differences here, and this, I believe, Eric Michael mentioned that he was a big influence. He likes these backslide grooves that are a little bit offset to the rear, and so when you're doing a royale, you kind of need your toes pointed more forward as you're grinding, if that makes sense. Conversely, if you're doing a back farv or whatever, you need your toes pointed more to the rear. I hope that makes sense, but you just have to angle a little bit to make them line up. And I remember Eric Michael saying he liked that because it makes you feel a little bit more locked in, I believe. If I'm wrong, Eric, let me know. But I know some people like that. And I think there's other skates out there that have a little bit of an offset backslide groove. Let me know down in the comments which skates do. But originally I said, you know what, cool, I'll give this a shot. I don't know that, to my knowledge, I've skated one with an offset backslide groove like this very much. But I did notice over time, basically, I've skated these street, I've skated these park, I've skated these things really hard. So if they look a little bit beat up, it's because they are. I'm really hard on my skates. I take I take pretty good falls, and I skate pretty hard when I skate, and so my skates generally reflect that. So anyway, just wanted to say that. And then with the backslide groove specifically, to be honest, I came into it with a really open mind. I really wanted to like it, but to be honest, it's just not my cup of tea. I thought that maybe I could adjust my skating a little bit naturally or whatever it may be. But this is the left skate, so this is the one that sees most of the boot down action. And as you can see, lined up with the Create Originals here, I just refuse to conform to that, and you can see most of the groove here is pretty well lined up with the H block. So I did almost no justice to the offset backslide groove. And for the most part, it wasn't an issue, to be honest. Especially, I skated these skates with all kinds of different frames. Typically, this is the typical kind of setup, Create Originals, the China wire stall frames. These were the Pokemon converted ones, but I put my skates in water. My bad. And the Pokemon cards got wet, so they got all mushy, and I took them out. So that's why they look like they look right now. So at first, as far as locking on with the stealth sole plates, I'm going to focus mostly on the stealth sole plates here because that is the primary difference between the black V1s and the white V1s, but I'm going to talk about some other stuff too, so stay tuned for that. But locking on, at first was not, to me, I couldn't tell a difference between locking on. I think they are a little bit smaller. I measured them, and I don't think the actual outer dimensions are super significant, which is kind of interesting. Maybe it's an optical illusion, but I did measure with some used sole plates, so it wasn't truly a fair comparison. But at first, I didn't notice any real issues locking onto anything. These are a pretty average sized sole plate. In my opinion, from just sort of anecdotal sort of experience or whatever. But over time, as you sort of skate them more and more, like any sole plate, it's going to start getting rounded off a little bit. and it's going to reduce that surface area, that lock-on sort of ability. And so that was it's to a point, like, you know, I can still lock on anything I basically want, but I do notice that I do sometimes tend to miss a little bit more with these sole plates. And so that's, you know, negatives are fine on here. I actually did what I do. I need to find the clip. I don't even know where it's at, but I did negative kind grind down the down box at the compound. I need to find that clip. I don't know who filmed it. But anyway, negatives. Yeah, I did a bunch of negatives. Never had any issues with negatives on these Faction sole plates. And they do have the cool Faction logos on there too, which is pretty sick. So I think that's my big feedback on the sole plates, which is the biggest component difference, the biggest difference between the white and black Faction. So that being said, I am going to go back to the, I am going to go back to the V1 sole plates here. It seems like a lot of the even Faction riders just skate the V1 soles. The backslide groove is centered with your H block, and I think the sole plates are just a little bit bigger. So for skaters like me that want every advantage they can get, these are it. So moving on from that, obviously these are white skates. So again, this is the left skate. So this is going, I'm left foot dominant. Let me know, are you left foot dominant? Or are you right foot dominant? Let me know down in the comments. But this is the one that's going to look the worst, right? This is the one that gets the most action, the left foot, right? So obviously they're white skates and they're fabric, and they get dirty. I haven't tried to clean them up. I got some magic erasers, those little sponge things. So I am going to try to do a video on like, hey, here's how to clean your white skates effectively. I'm sure someone else has done that, but I'm going to try it, maybe make a goofy little video about that. But yeah, obviously, like, they're white skates. That's why I like held off on skating these, because I really wanted to get a bunch of setup pictures and get some B-roll and whatever before they ended up looking like this. But next big thing, I'm just going to go over, you know, some of the things that I noticed that maybe, I don't know if it could be improved or whatever. Again, I skated these really hard for the last 4 months, like really hard. But the bungee cord, so the liners come, I think, with this bungee cord now. My first ones didn't, for the liners. And I think it was after like 2 or 3 months, it finally kind of gave up and kind of broke apart there. So that's unfortunate, but, you know, pretty easily replaced. The laces, Faction has great laces. I don't know what like the source is, but overall, like, they're not waxed, but they kind of feel like they're waxed, like they're rough. So they almost behave just like waxed laces, which is super dope. The liner, I was just thinking about this or mentioning this the other day, which I think is what really reminded me to do this video. But like, this is gonna be weird, but the liners actually still have a little bit of that new smell after 4 months. And if you have ever seen any of my videos of me rollerblading, you know I am a sweaty mofo. And so these actually still, I mean, the liners look great. They're still in great shape. And this material, I like this like sort of, I don't think it's neoprene, but whatever this liner material is, this actual lining feels really nice. And I guess whatever antimicrobial lining stuff is in here felt great. So that's cool. I have been skating these with the stock Faction sort of little shock absorber here. I put that underneath the liner, and that makes it feel good. But yeah, liners are fantastic. I actually downsized a little bit. My last pair of Factions was a 10. These are the same shell size, but the liner is a half size smaller at 9.5 US. And you can see right there. And definitely, if you're going to ever buy Factions, I mean, I guess the carbon Factions here, I didn't mention that, but these are carbon fiber skate, removable liner, carbon fiber skate. But yeah, if you buy these, like 100% heat mold them. They are meant to be heat molded. Don't be afraid of putting your skates in the oven to heat mold them up. Just follow the directions that they have listed on the website. But with these, because they were a little bit of a half size smaller, it took a little bit longer to really get to these to a point. The toe box felt a little tight, to be honest. But after, you know, a handful of sessions breaking them in, they feel great now. They feel fantastic. That's one of my favorite things about Factions, is that they fit so well. Clark Kirkman, the owner of Faction Skate Company, really wanted a boot that would fit a wide variety of different foot shapes. And so these do. These, and especially once you heat mold them, dude, they're great. They're fantastic. Not in love. You know, I've mentioned this before in some other videos, and I think this other one is a little bit worse. But the 45 strap is a little bit like, I mean, this isn't terrible. The other one's a little bit worse. I think a point of improvement would be to, yeah, you can see how this one is. And it's right there. So if you slide out, yeah, you can see that's close. But if you like slide out, once this thing is actually like, you know, laced up or whatever, situated, it's right there in the line of fire on the inside, right there. So yeah, on my black ones, I had them replaced with the Jad straps, the Jad roller vlog straps. Go check him out at Jad on Instagram, JAD. Jonathan's the man. But so yeah, that's one point of improvement, is the 45 strap could be a little bit beefier. You really want to make sure to lock tight the cuff bolts. If I'm not mistaken, they include blue Loctite with every purchase. If I'm not, I could be mistaken, but I think they do. So, I mean, overall impressions on the white factions, I mean, they're basically the same as the black ones, different sole plate. They're a different color, as evidenced by this, but they have that same like fantastic faction performance. I will say, and I've mentioned this before a few times, I do wish the cuff, and it sounds like it's been in the works, I'm sure, for a while, and I think actually got to feel a little bit of a sample. I'm not leaking anything here. I hope I'm not. But they are working on an improved cuff, or like a V2 cuff, because if you feel this one, it's a flexy boy, which is great. It makes boot down, it makes top sides, it makes grinding easy AF. On gaps, on big transitions, on whatever, you do find yourself, or I found myself, wanting a little bit more support. So I've kind of stood by that. Like, if it was like 15% stiffer, then I think that would be perfect. I mean, it makes grinds, like I said, like cheat codes. I didn't actually try these ones with different liners. You know, a lot of the faction team rides Intuition liners in here, and that's what's cool. There's, you know, it's cool that there's more carbon fiber skates with removable liners now, instead of integrated liners where you have no option but to maybe gut the skate and then put it in a liner. But it is cool. So you don't like the liners, which these are fantastic liners. Like I've mentioned in other faction review videos, that like a lot of skates out there today just have like really cheap throwaway liners that are just like space fillers until you put a good liner in there. These are not that. These are good. These are good straight out of the box. Nice stretchy toe box. Really nice. And they're not like the fattest liners ever, but they're definitely on the fatter side. They're definitely not Intuitions, but they feel good. They feel really good. So super pumped on that. The skates are great. There's a reason I've been skating these for over a year now. There's a reason they're my daily drivers. I love them a lot. Obviously, like there's little things here and there that can be improved, but they're a brand new company. They're working on it. Clark is a fantastic company owner, fantastic guy in general, and I have a lot of respect for him and the team and what they're doing. And I love the product, man. That's why I'm at a point where if I don't want to skate something, I'm not going to skate it. So that's why I continue to stay on factions. Like I mentioned, I am going to swap out the sole plates for V1s. But outside of that, man, we're going to keep gunning forward on the factions. I'm excited to see, man, they're coming out with some different stuff, some plastic boot stuff that they've teased in the past. And that's going to be interesting. So be on the lookout for an all plastic version of the faction V1. So super excited about that. Shout out to Create Originals, fantastic frames, my frame of choice personally. Somatics anti-rockers here too. They are great. Okay, rollerbooters, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. I will see you on the next video. Take care.